Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 55 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. Between episodes, I set up a few things. So I moved my Celestial Altar guy over here and I set up a few more spectral relays just to make it look kind of cool. And I think it looks pretty cool. It looks nice, actually. And I did a little bit more research into Astral Sorcery. Now remember when I did my spotlight on Astral Sorcery and I talked a little bit about rock crystals and their properties. Different rock crystals have different properties and they're all totally randomized. However, we've reached the point in Astral Sorcery where it actually does somewhat matter what properties we have on our crystals. And different properties will have different effects. So for an example, collector crystals, which is what we're starting to play with, that collect sunlight, the two most important attributes for a collector crystal are size and cutting. So the size is affected... all the stats are totally randomized when you mine it, right? So whenever you mine a rock crystal, you're going to have totally randomized size and purity and cutting. All these stats are totally randomized. And size and cutting are the two most important. And there's definitely some ways that we can do stuff to make this a little bit better. So let's take a look at Astral Sorcery. Did we ever make the cutting wheel thingy? I don't know that we even did. The grindstone? Did we ever make a grindstone? I guess not. So we should probably do that. It's made an luminous crafting table with wooden sticks. So that shouldn't be too hard to make at this point because it's like a tier 1 resource. And some marble. Let's go do that, shall we? So sticks, wood, and marble. There we go. Cool. And we should have no problem crafting that guy, even though it's the middle of the day, because we have some decent starlight power even during the day, courtesy of all these spectral relays and collector crystals and stuff, beaming stuff into here. And I'm pretty sure this guy's linked, right? Like, I'm not seeing a beam right now, but I feel like he's probably linked. Yeah, I guess there's just no beam, but that's okay. So, two attributes that we want to modify to make ourselves have a really, really nice collector crystal. And here's the downside. You can't affect collector crystals after they've already been turned into collector crystals. So once you've converted to a collector crystal, you can't start improving their stats. You have to improve their stats before you turn them into collector crystals. So size is pretty easy to affect. And you can see I've already bumped a couple of my rock crystals up to the maximum size. All you got to do is drop a rock crystal into, and you know what I should probably do? Did that? Okay, there we go. Boom. Right into a pool of that liquid starlight. And you give it a minute or two, and it should eventually turn into a larger size. So the size on that one was around 200 and something, right? So here's a rock crystal size 400. I'm going to drop that into the pool, and we'll see what happens. So you give these guys a few minutes, and they should maybe start behaving a little bit. We'll see. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. So you guys do your thing. And then shortly, you'll know it's done because it'll use up all the liquid starlight in the tank. So you can see two things happened, right? Both of our pools have disappeared. This one, the crystal bumped up to size 314, so we got an increase in crystal size. I'm going to drop another little bit of starlight there, and we're cool. This one did not increase because the yellow size indicates that it's maxed out. However, I'm going to drop it in there again. One of the things that you can occasionally get to happen, if you're lucky, is that you'll duplicate your crystal. And that only happens when it's at its max size. So I kind of want to see if we can get that to happen. So we're going to let that crystal sit in a pool of starlight again, and then we'll take a look at what happens next. All right, so it's been a little bit. There we go. I knew I was right on the timing there. I don't know if there's like a set time, but like I get like a feeling. So this guy bumped up to size 392, so that's actually really good. That's kind of nice. And you, oh, looks like there's two crystals in there. Hey, Husk, I'm doing some experimenting here with astral crystals. You're not helping at all. There we go. So we got two. They're smaller in size, but I think they improved in purity. Now, the grindstone is what we're going to use to improve the cutting. So here's a rock crystal of size 400, cutting 28%. I'm going to place it in there. I'm going to 1, 2, 3. I don't know how many times you have to click it. Basically, every time you click it, it's going to go up in cutting and down in size. If you grind it too much, however, you will completely destroy the crystal, and that'll be a bad time for you. So we've got our cutting up to 66% and size 106. So as you can see, getting the size up and the cutting up is definitely going to help us out because it'll allow us to collect more crystals. Sunlight with the collector crystal. So basically, affecting these stats is really important, long story short. And it's occurred to me, I'm probably going to want to grow a decent number of crystals up to max size 400 if possible. And I wonder if there's a way that I can automate that. Unfortunately, the size, impurity, and cutting aspect are all NBT tags. And there's very few mods that are good at reading and manipulating and doing stuff with NBT tags. I say very few, but then I have a bunch of stuff in my inventory from a particular mod that might be jumping out at you that isn't related to Astral Sorcery, and you're probably saying, hey Dyer, what's all that blue stuff in your inventory? It's something I've been working on off camera, and it's right over here. I've got this little display panel. Watch what happens when I put a rock crystal size 106 inside this chest. It says 106 on the panel. I've created with Integrated Dynamics a nifty way to read the amount of size on a particular crystal. And it's always going to read the first slot in this chest. And what I'm probably going to wind up doing, so like 225, for example. Cool, right? So I'm going to show you guys today how to make this integrated dynamic system to read the rock crystal size. And what I'd like to do is build a system that will sort crystals based on their size. And basically, what I'm thinking is we would put crystals into a chest, and they could be dropped into liquid starlight and then picked up once it's completed the crafting process, and it'll read the value on the crystal, and if it's over, well, if it's 400, it'll move into like a completed chest, and if it's less than 400, it'll move into a more work to be done chest, and it'll drop into a crystal pool again. Sound cool? I hope so, because that's what we're doing today. So let's get started taking a look. So one of the first things I'm going to get is a mini chest. These are nifty little devices, and the reason I like them is they can store one item at a time. Perfect for what we want to do, because I don't want to store a bunch of items at a time. I want to store one at a time. So let's maybe swing out behind, like over here might be a cool place to set this up. I don't know how much space this is going to require because I haven't like built it yet, but hopefully it works out pretty well. So I mean, we totally have this nifty tank, which is doing a great job of doing everything. There's a couple things to build, but let's first build the read the value thing, and then we'll build the, like, once you've got it, you can do something with it thing. Does that sound cool? I hope so, because that's what we're doing. So here goes. First, we're going to do the read the value of the thing. So in order for this to work, we're going to need a few bits. And what I'm going to do is build it like behind. So like, let's say we're going to have, here is going to be a starlight pool, right? And then we'll have like, let's use marble for this. There is going to be where we're going to drop, using an Actual Additions dropper, the rock crystal into the thing. So that should be cool. And then maybe here could be a chest where we collect the size 400 crystals. Does that sound good? So basically, let's put our mini chest right here. Right, so you'll either, and we'll use item ducts for this, you'll either item duct items into this if it's oversized 400, or back into the dropper if it's undersized 400. And maybe just to like super drive this thing home, let's get a dropper. I said make a dropper. That'll take a second. You can even see in the corner here the dropping of items. See them sitting there? Poof, there they go. And then the dropper should appear. Hooray. And item ducts, impulse would be fine, and servos. I guess, I mean, they don't have to be that fast. We'll do hardened. Cool. So what we could have, they don't have to be super cool. It can be pretty straightforward there. Okay. And then we'll put sand back here, right? And that should be good. So then we'll have item ducts impulse going here and here with servos that are set to only run when you receive a redstone signal. Cool. So there's no real good way to filter this with MBT tags. Now, the reason that we can't just say, hey, like get a size 400 crystal and stick it in here and say filter on MBT, because there's other MBT properties. If you hit F3 and H, it'll turn on advanced tooltips. And if you hold shift on any item in your inventory, you can see a list of all the MBT tags that exist on an item. MBT tags, warning, complex content ahead, are pretty much the way most modders these days are storing a lot of information about stuff. So for example, this rock crystal has some properties: size, purity, and cutting, and you can see it at the top there, highlighted in blue. If you look further down, you'll see that that's stored in an NBT tag, which is called astral sorcery, crystal properties, collective capacity 23, which is your cutting, size, which is 225, and purity, which is 32. So that information is stored programmatically on an MBT tag. If we tried to match on an MBT tag of size 400, it would also have to match the exact same purity and cutting, which we will never have because we've got, totally random size collecting, cutting, and purities. Like all those numbers are going to be totally random. So we can't just do, whitelist and match NBT because there's more than just size on this thing. There's other stuff that won't match. It'll never match. Okay, it might occasionally match, but super rarely will it match. So we really just need to worry about the MBT tag. So to do that, let's get started with some of this. So we're going to throw an inventory reader, boom, right there on that mini chest. And we can see what details are in that inventory, right? So I'm going to go ahead and additionally drop a variable store and an energy battery so that we have actually power here for this to run. And now, just to make things easy to see, I'm going to go ahead and stick a display panel from Integrated Dynamics on this setup. And what's cool about this is the display panel will tell us information about the variable cards we're about to create. So let's go ahead and start creating variable cards. The first thing I'm going to do is put an actual crystal in here. So this is rock crystal, and its information says its size 225, purity 32, cutting 23. And I'm going to go ahead and grab, from here, I'm going to get the variable for slot item. Now, here's where you could tell it which slot to choose from, but we're very importantly picking an inventory with only one slot. We might change this later, we'll see, but for now, we're going to stick with this just to keep things simple because there's a lot of complexity in what we're building here, and I want to keep it as simple as possible for now so you guys can follow along. So we've got a variable card that associates itself with the item in this slot. And if we put that variable card in the display panel, you'll see it's telling me there's a rock crystal in there. Cool. If I take that item out, the thing's empty. Anything we put in there, it'll tell me what it is. Cool, right? So the first thing we want to do is just know what's in that slot. And that's what we've done. We've gotten a variable card for that slot. Perfect. Now I want to read the NBT data off of the item in that slot. And to do that, we're going to need to use our portable logic programmer. If you search for NBT, you'll see there's a lot of NBT related things you can do here, like a lot. What we're going to do is choose this one. This operator here, you can see it's named item NBT, and the input is an item, and the output is the NBT tag. And if you hold shift on this operator, it tells you exactly what the operator is doing. Gets the NBT tag of the given item. So what I'm going to do is put my variable card in the slot at the top, and I'm going to get a new variable card out of it. And what we've just done is create a variable here that gets the NBT tag of the item that's associated with this variable card. Now, in order for this to work, we have to place this variable card here, the one that stores the item information and associates with this slot, inside the variable store. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and place this rock crystal back in here, and now in the display panel, I'm going to place our variable card with the NBT. And you'll notice it's really small text, but you can see it kind of at the top of the screen. We now know the NBT tag on the item inside the chest. Its value is astral sorcery, crystal properties, collective capacity 23, size 225, purity 32, yada, yada, yada. You can kind of see it more detailed at the top of the screen where we're seeing that kind of bubbled up there. Yeah. So that's your NBT tag on the crystal. So basically what we have to do is we have to drill down sequentially from the top level item down to like the information that we need. So first thing we did was we found out information about what item is inside the chest, and then we used our logic programmer to get the MBT tag of that item. Now we have to take it another step further. We have to, so it's kind of a nested thing that's going on here. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically think of it like Astral Sorcery is the top level MBT tag, and underneath that there's a property called Crystal Properties. And underneath that, there are 3 properties: Collective Capacity, Size, and Purity. So what I have to do now is say, give me the information inside the Astral Sorcery MBT tag. So in order to do that, we need our logic programmer again. First, you need a string called Astral Sorcery. And luckily, I'm ready to copy and paste that a little bit, so I can just... So Astral Sorcery is going to be a string variable, okay? Follow along. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do another NBT. There's another NBT. Where is it in here? This guy. The MBT tag value in the given MBT tag with the given key. So this is a little complex, but basically what it means is given... So we give it an MBT tag, so that's like the long one here, everything. And then we give it a string, which is going to be Astral Sorcery, and it'll give me all the MBT data inside the Astral Sorcery tag. So it'll give me Crystal Properties, Collective Capacity, Size, and Purity. So when I do that, I put this in here for the MBT tag that we want to read, and then the string, and then we get a new variable out, okay? Now these two have to go into my variable store. And when I put this guy into the display panel, note that now I'm getting Crystal Properties, Collective Capacity, Size, Purity. So we got the information inside the Astral Sorcery tag. So what do we want to do next? Well, we want to get the information inside the Crystal Properties tag. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to create first a string variable called Crystal Properties. Okay. And we're going to store that there, and then we're going to create an NBT variable again. Hey, I typed NBT up there, didn't I? That does NBT tag. So again, we want to get the information inside the tag. So we want to get all the information inside the Crystal Properties tag. So we want to do this, and that. Cool. So now if I put these guys inside my store, and we put this guy in here, we'll see now we're getting Collective Capacity 23, Size 225, and Purity. Sweet. So now I'm going to take this variable card out of here, and we want to find out what the size property is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another string called size and get a variable for that. And now there's another MBT operator that we want to do, and it is nbt.integer. And what it does is it says, given an NBT tag and a string, give me an integer output. And if you hold shift here, you'll see the integer value in the given NBT tag with the given key. So we've already got an NBT tag, this guy here, that is just the collective capacity, size, and purity properties. I'm going to say drop in size for the string, the word size, because that's the NBT tag on here that we want, which is, in this case, size, it says 10. Or it says 106, right? So when I do that and get another variable card, what this should do is it should return an integer value, because that's what it says. It says NBT integer, and it should tell me the value of the size. So I'm going to, again, put these two in here, and if we put this size on here, it's now saying 225, because that's the value on this guy, 225. Sweet. I can F3H again, because we don't need to see advanced tooltips. So when I take this thing out of here, it'll update usually in a second. There we go. 225, 106. Cool, right? Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So, next steps. Let's get it so that we can measure whether or not we want to pull items out of here, right? So basically what I want to do is I want to create, so this is the size value. This variable card is associated with the size. It's exactly the size of the crystal in the thing, right? So what I'm going to do is now create a variable that says, we're going to create an integer, 400, okay? And we're going to say equals. And what we'll say is NBT tag and 400 and create a variable card off of that. And what that does is it'll say, tell me what the NBT tag for size is and check if it's equal to the number 400 and output a Boolean of true or false. So when we do that, stick both these guys in here and put this in here, you'll see it's saying false. And that's false. And that's false. But if I find a crystal that's size 400, for example, which I don't think I have any at the moment, but if I did, it would say true. Maybe I'll make one real fast. Let me get a rock crystal of close to size 200 or 400. Let's see, 302, 308, 324. That's close enough. I'm going to grow a crystal up to size 400, and we'll be right back. All right, so now we've got a rock crystal of size 400. So basically, if we place this dude in here, 106, it's still false, and 400 is true. Cool, because we said, hey, you're supposed to tell me if the NBT tag of size is equal to the number 400, and it's returning true there. Pretty awesome. Loving it. That is not bad at all. Sweet. All right, so now let's get redstone writers up here. So basically what we'll want to do is have a redstone writer here and a cable on it, and we'll say you should be set to this Boolean operator, right? So basically, if I put a size 225 in here, nothing's going to happen. If I put a size 400 in there, it should activate the redstone signal and pull the item out and drop it into the chest and then turn the redstone signal off. How cool is that? Huh? Is that neat? Boom. And it should get pulled out of there. Nice. Okay. So now what we're going to want to do is get something to create a redstone signal for this dude. So now let's create a variable for less than 400. So I'm going to take the exact same variable information, right? Before we said this equals this. So now all I need to do, there's a little bit more than this, but you'll find out in a second what I need to do. We have to do a less than. Not less than or equals, but less than. So we want to say the NBT tag itself, this guy, is less than the number 400. Okay? And we're going to get this in here. Okay? So when we put these two in here, here's an important note. If there's nothing in the chest, it was displaying as 0, which means that it's less than that. So that's kind of bad. Well, kind of bad. We'll kind of see what happens. But like, let's see what happens if I put this dude in here, right? So you're going to be active all the time. What if I put a size 400 in there? Okay, it's quick enough that it pulled it out. So that's kind of cool. But I kind of would rather you not be so quick to pull things out. Like, it was pretty instant in how fast it updated there. Boom. It's pretty fast. I will give it that. I just want to make sure that it never actually pulls out of here. So I want to make sure. So to be extra certain, what I'm going to do is... So this is the one right here that says if it's less than 400. And we're seeing errors, and that's okay. It's just because I took the variables out of the variable store. This one's saying less than 400, right? Let's create another one that is integer 0, and we'll create one for NBT tag is greater than 0, and we'll make a Boolean out of that. Okay, so this is less than 400, and this one's greater than 0. Okay, so then what we want to do is make an and we'll say if it's less than 400 and greater than 0, that's what we care about. So we put all these guys in the variable store, and we do this, and it's false, right? 400 is still false, but 225 is true. Or 106 is true. Cool. And this display screen not updating, that's just kind of a little bug. It's just, it occasionally happens. So I'll put this in here. It's really just a display screen that's not updating. So we can remove that actually now. We don't need the display screen anymore because we're pretty much done. So basically, the redstone signal shouldn't be on right now. So let's see, 400. Cool. And then I put this in here, and it should redstone signal into that and pull it out. Nice. and I do that, and it should do that. How cool is that? So now we've got basically a sorting system that will, given a rock crystal, go ahead and get it up to 400. So the next step of this build is to actually put liquid crystal there and manage that bit of it. So let's do it. So that was integrated dynamics, doing some really complex operations to read the NBT data off of a rock crystal and filter based on one specific tag, which is the size. So next thing I think I'm going to do is make a world item importer. This is what's going to pick up items. And then I also want a specific type of reader. Network, machine, redstone, world, inventory, fluid, extra dimensional, entity, block. I think I want a block reader. This should do. And we're probably also going to want more variable cards, because we are just having a blast with these things today, aren't we? So that should be cool. So basically what I'm going to say is this. Check this out. This will be cool. I'm going to place a... Let's see, there's a couple things we're going to need to do here. So the first thing I'll do is place the world reader, or the block reader. What this does is it's going to tell me, and we'll use a display panel again just to demonstrate this. We'll just stick it right there. We're going to read, that's the world item importer, I put the wrong one. The block reader, yeah, that's what we want. We're going to get the block type right there, okay? And we're going to find out what block is there. Okay, so right now it's going to say air. But if I place a piece of sand, for example, it'll say there's sand there. And I'm pretty sure that I don't have to use the fluid reader bit. I'm hoping I'm right about this. Yes. So there's something that's not air there. So you can see it's not rendering on the display, but it's telling me it is liquid starlight. Sweet. And now it's telling me it's air. So now we can read whether or not there's air, right? So what I'm gonna do is let's say get our variables card programmer dude. I'm pretty sure. So if I got block. There should be a block. There it is. You're not going to like that. All right, so I have to get a string. String air. Okay, follow along with this. Right, so what I'm doing is I'm getting string air. Okay, and then we're going to get block name is what I want to compare it on. Name, category string, input string. No, that's not right. Block by name. Input type is string, output type is block. Oh, okay. Well, that works. I think. That should work, right? And then if I said equals... And we said if the block that's in the space is equal to this variable that we created, which is the block with the name air, because we did the string name, that. So let's put these variables in here, and we'll put this guy in here. It's true. Now, if anything other than air is there, it should say false. Cool? Including liquid starlight. Now, it shouldn't care if there's an item there, right? Correct. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use this variable card for the item pickup. You ready? Check this out. So I'm going to run another piece of cabling here. Boom, boom. We're going to stick the world item importer here, and we're going to tell you to pick up all item entities when this variable card says true. So basically, right now it's true, so it will pick up item entities. Now, the only thing we have to do is get something I forgot to grab. It's in here, an item interface, because this tells it where to put the item. So then we'll put another cable here with this dude there, right? So watch what happens. If this is an air block, right? Watch what happens when I drop this rock crystal in there. Boom, it picked it up. Boom, it picked it up. Boom, it picked it up. Now watch what happens if it's not an air block. Ah, it's not picking it up. It's not picking it up. How cool is that? Because we're checking if the block in that space is air, and if it is, it'll pick up the item. Now remember, the liquid crystal starlight stuff disappears when the crystal is done doing its thing. Okay, so you see where we're going with this? So when that crystal grows, it will absorb the liquid starlight, turning that block space to air, allowing the item to pick itself back up. How nifty is that? So that is actually really compact, and I'm somewhat proud of it. You are still at 100%. I don't know why you're not using any power, but I should probably get some kind of thing over there. But in a moment, we'll see this liquid starlight disappear, and the item will be picked up. And if it's size 400, it'll go into the chest over there. But since I know it's not size 400 because it's pretty small, it's going to wind up going back into the dropper. Okay? So let's see what happens. Starlight absorb. Hopefully you don't need to see the sky. I don't think you need to see the sky. Pretty sure you don't need to see the sky. I really want to like capture this moment on camera, so I'm, letting it sit there. There we go. Hey, boom, it automatically picked up the item. How cool is that? I just got a ghost version of it. Come on, give me the item. There we go. So, it grew. It's size 203 now. That's super cool. We totally got it working. So now I'm going to make an auto placer, an auto fluid placer. And I'm going to put you, by default, you're on deactivation mode. I'm going to put you on pulse mode. And what this will do is it'll place a fluid in the world when it receives a redstone pulse. Okay. Then I'm going to want another redstone writer. And you'll go here? That's funny. This system is definitely not equipped to handle items that are not crystals, but it's okay. And you are going to get a redstone pulse with the same attribute thingy as this. So basically we take the block by name and the block type, so these two again. We have to make another, equals variable. Okay. Equals this and this. For that, it's the exact same operator we made a second ago. Put them back in here. This is going to go into a redstone writer that will send a redstone pulse basically when block equals air. Okay, so whenever the block equals air, it's going to send a redstone pulse to the fluid placer, right? So what I'm going to do is get maybe 4 buckets just for testing purposes. And we will place them in there. All right, so we've got 4 liquid starlight buckets, right? So I'm going to place my variable card here. And that placed 1 bucket's worth. Okay, now I'm going to say I want to grow this rock crystal of size 203. So I'm going to place it inside the chest. Because it's less than 400, it goes into the dropper, and it drops into the starlight. Now the starlight's just going to sit there, and it's going to grow. And when the starlight puddle disappears, this should immediately pick up the item, and this should immediately pulse into another fluid, I think. We'll see. If they happen too fast, it should be good. This might be a time when we want to play with priorities, but I'm not too sure. We'll find out what happens pretty much in a second here. It might be super quick. And if it is, we'll have to manage just some timing a little bit. It shouldn't be a problem. It should just be like a matter of getting the timing down. But overall, this should pretty much work. So let's go crystal growth. Do your thing. We'll know what happens. Should be any moment now. Come on, crystal growth. Any moment now. Luckily, we have some nice music to help us along. Come on. You can do it. I think it did it. Nice. That worked pretty good. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep an eye on this for a little bit and make sure we never run into an instance where it places the fluid before it picks up the item. If that happens, I'll have to tweak it a little bit, and we'll come back next episode and see that. For now, Dial20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed this build. I understand it's super complex, but it definitely is cool, and I hope you guys like it. All right, guys, take it easy.